Lights, Camera, Friction is a really good episode of good advice. This is the 12th episode of the second season. It's directed by Robby Benson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. I won't go through every single thing that happens, but I'll talk about it. In general, it's also worth pointing out that, according to Wikipedia at least, this is one of the episodes that didn't air. And I'm quite surprised by that. I don't know, I still haven't established why 3 of them didn't air, but if anybody knows, please feel free to share. But I really enjoyed this one. It starts off, as always, with Susan with some patients, and everything is good, and then they start fighting, and it's a nice way to start things off. We then get a little bit of suspense, as Paige has a new opportunity. She's very excited about this. I'd say it takes us a good 2 or 3 minutes to establish what this is, and it turns out she's getting her own talk show on public access television, and Sean's going to be her director, and she asks Susan to be her first guest, and Susan says no, she doesn't want to do this. And I thought it was going to take a different direction, actually, because she said no, and then Paige instantly asked Artie instead, and it seemed like Susan had expected Paige to maybe grovel a little bit more. And I thought that's partly what it was going to be about, of Susan trying to be her guest because she wasn't grovelled to. But actually, that's not what happened. Artie is Paige's first guest, and it was, and not in terms of the episode, but for Paige, it was very, very boring. He was not a good talk show guest, and Paige was very disappointed by how it went. And she kind of slightly blamed Susan, because had Susan been her guest, she thought it would have been much more interesting. Which I have to say is probably more likely. I feel like Susan is a little bit more entertaining as a character. Not that Artie is a boring character, but I feel like Susan's maybe more charismatic than Artie, so I can understand why Paige would feel that way. And Susan eventually does agree. And she's not allowed to say she's Paige's sister. Paige doesn't want people to think she's just on the show because she's her sister. And Paige wants Susan to gossip about her clients. And obviously Susan's not going to do that. And they end up fighting on air. And honestly, it's brilliantly executed. Very, very well done. Some harsh words were said from both of them. But I thought it worked very well, and honestly, I'm not surprised it went out that way. And the episode ends with both of them apologising to each other, and Susan revealing why she really didn't want to do it. And I don't know if she's being completely honest with this. I feel like she was very believable, but I also feel like she just didn't want to do it because, well, I don't know, maybe she doesn't like public access television. Maybe she just didn't want to be quizzed on her patients. But it's not that she hasn't done interviews before, because obviously she wrote a book. She's had to do a lot of promoting for that. So maybe her reasoning is genuine, because she explained to Paige that she wanted Paige to just have something that was hers, because Paige works for Susan. Paige obviously doesn't really feel great about the fact that she works for her sister. And by not doing the interview, Paige's talk show was just hers. Susan wasn't involved, apart from supporting her, of course. And I do kind of believe that, but I also feel like it was a little bit of a convenient excuse. I don't know. I kind of believe her, but I think maybe there were other reasons why she said no as well. But either way, it was a really nice part of the episode. I really thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was a really fun concept, very well executed, and I'm surprised it didn't air. I'm sure there's a genuine reason for it, for why it didn't air, but that being said, I thought it was pretty good. I only have one more episode left, and honestly, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to really, really miss it. So I'm probably not going to rush to watch the last episode. I'll probably watch it in 2 weeks' time, and then 2 weeks after that, I will try and find something else with Shelley Long that I haven't seen. I'm going to be watching Modern Family, at least the first 4 episodes, because her character comes into it 4 episodes in. I think it's quite a while after that she's not in it again, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm getting desperate, so I will be very sad to see the end of Good Advice. But I'll get emotional about that when I discuss the next and final episode. And for now, I can sum up by saying Lights, Camera, Friction was really delightful, and definitely an episode that I enjoyed.